Give me an idea where some of you guys are from. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. That way I'll see if you guys are in here. North Carolina. Ohio, Los Angeles, Montreal. All right. So we've got the middle of the country covered. We got the West Coast covered. We got Canada. So we got the North covered. We need somebody from the East Coast in here. That way, if I get enough people in here, then it will, as I get comments in here, it will balance out my accent if y'all pick up on one. And again, that question, where are you guys from? All right, next question. What do you mainly trade? Do you trade futures, equities, options? Okay, John, futures and forex. This way, I'll know when I start sharing live a little bit what to cover, what to show you guys. Futures, stocks and options. Man, options options is the hot deal right now. And rightfully so. So are ETFs. You know, I've been reading a book from John Bogle, and if you guys trade equities, or I think that's his name, John Bogle from Vanguard, and what he's saying in there, buy index funds and hold them forever. This is a guy who started, you know, instrumental in starting mutual funds, and basically explaining why mutual funds are not good investments for anyone because of the cost. It's shocking. But we've got something a little different. Bonds, crude. Okay. All right, guys, let's get going. A little bit about myself. I've been trading in the markets since 1981. Do the math. That's 36 years. I'm only 42 years old, so I was a child prodigy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a little older than that, but I've been around the block a few times, guys. And the way I got started in this business was an institutional grain trader. And in my early 20s, even in my teens, I grew up around an agricultural community. I was not in it so much, but we did have farms when I was growing up, and but I was still a city kid. I came from my dad was in World War II. He came from a 6th grade education, and my dad was an entrepreneur to a degree that he had service stations, back when service stations were service stations. And my dad taught me a lot about business, and how it wasn't so much as a great education or extended education. It was how you wanted to work. So about the time he taught me, about the time I got big enough to clean a windshield, and in those days sweep out a car and clean it with a whispering, my dad put me to work. So, you know, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, and my dad believed that we should work. I love that because it's been something I'd instilled in my kids. I've got 3 of them. I've got 2 grandkids. I've got 2 daughters and a son. My son is a professional basketball player. He played basketball at Gonzaga University. For some of you West Coast people, Mid Coast, everybody who follows basketball should know who Gonzaga is. He played out there when the first time they were #1 in the country, and he's been playing professional ball for 3 years now. And that's enough about myself. A little introduction there, where I'm coming from. So I got started in the as an institutional grain trader back when you had to do charts by hand. So if you go back 35, 36 years, if you have any age on you, you know that not everybody had a personal computer in those days. Oh, this gives us a hard time. Yeah, Gonzaga will do that. And so I learned, and I couldn't jump on something that you've got here on a webinar and learn from it, because there was no internet. Al Gore had not created it yet. So what we look at, I sat next to some guys who had been trading since the early 50s. Even they were trading long before I was born. And most of them, because I'm in Memphis at that time, most of them were involved with trading cotton. And well, what would we do without him? Without Al Gore? And so I learned to trade cotton sitting next to guys who traded cotton, looking at the fundamentals, and technicals were not as prevalent as they are today. Why? Because if you were a technical trader, you better have a pretty good math background, because you had to do everything by hand. You had to calculate everything on a, and I still have it, my HP, what is it, HP 12C, kind of like a handheld calculator computer. And you could make that thing do all types of stuff. So I did that. So I'm the owner and the co-founder of TradetheSystem.com, and over the years I've been with, you've probably heard, guys, I've moderated trading rooms and worked with some of the guys in the marketplace, John Carter, Hubert Centers. I worked with those two guys a whole lot. So if you wonder kind of the legitimacy of what I'm teaching, I've been involved with those guys for probably 12, 13 years when all the webinars were just getting started. So this is what we're looking at: catching the extreme trends with the power band. And you may be asking, well, what is the power band? We're going to cover that. Now, the power band is something that, as you see as we go forward, it can be a huge profit maker for you. And this is what we're going to be looking at. Develop a trading system. What is a trade? A trade checklist. Know the patterns, and then enjoy the ride. Why? Because what we're going to do, and I'm not going to draw on this because when I did, it seemed to kill the microphone. I don't know what happened, but I'll watch it and make sure. And we're going to blow through this. This is going to be something, and then we're going to look at live charts. Now, the first thing, why is it important to have a system? I'm called TradetheSystem.com. That's my website, TradetheSystem.com. And systems, everywhere I turn this year, for some reason, it's been, things are great, but, if you're going to have a business, you need to have a system. So what will a system do in trading? What do you mean a system that we need to develop in trading? This is what we need to do. A system will help all traders become efficient. That's what will happen. A system will help improve your process of trade selection instead of just kind of throwing darts at it. And a system will cultivate discipline in your trading. And that's one thing that I've learned over the years. Now, you can have a bunch of rules, and rules are good to some degree, but a system, to me, is better. Now, when you develop a trading system, you need to be able to take the system to the next level. And what do I mean by that? You can develop a system of trading and sit on it and really not use it that much, but it's never going to get you anywhere. If you don't work on your system consistently, developing discipline, looking to see what you can do to improve your system, it's going to be somewhat dead. Now, when I talk about it, successful sports teams have a system. Successful companies have a system. Successful teachers have a system, and successful traders must have a system. Now, and because I've been so geared to basketball over the years, I had 2 of my 3 kids played college basketball, and one of my daughters and my son both played college basketball, one at the highest level you could get to. He played at a place called Gonzaga. Gonzaga, if you put it side-by-side comparison to North Carolina, Duke, all of those, Kentucky, Michigan, if you compared Gonzaga to them, there's no way that you should see Gonzaga be successful. Now, what made the difference? There's a guy out there who's been coaching, who's been in the NCAA tournament for 22 straight years. He has a system, and it was so interesting when my son went out there and played to see that system work, that Mark Few will come into practice. If their practice starts at 2 o'clock, he walks in the door at 2 o'clock. That's when he starts coaching. He walks out on the floor. He looks like he just walked out of the river trout fishing. Most of the time, he may have on a smelly pair of shorts and a t-shirt. And you would think, when I first saw him, I thought, you know, he's not even coaching. He's got other people running the practice. But he's got such an efficient system that they ended up playing in the national championship this year. They've been ranked number 1 in the country twice. My son played on the team one year, the first year they were, and then they ended up being a national championship this year. So there's another team that's pretty successful too, if you will follow football. Another one, the New England Patriots. Belichick has a system. Companies, they have a system. Right now, Amazon has a system that they're working. FedEx has a very defined system. That's right here in Memphis. Teachers, wonderful teachers in the market. School teachers, going down to elementary, high school, some of those people have great systems, and they're the ones who produce really good students. Successful traders need to have a system. Now, off of these systems, what are we going to do? Well, first of all, let me ask you a question. Can you think of a time when not having a system cost you? What do I mean by that? Where you entered into a trade as a trader, and because you went into a trade without following a designed plan, that ended up blowing a bunch of money, and hopefully when you did that, you learned something from it, because trading can be educational. Training in trading markets can be very expensive. Trading can be very expensive. And the educational process, sometimes that I had to learn the hard way. One of the fortunate things I had was being an institutional grain trader, I could also see how other people traded and go, man, I don't want to do that. Now, it's either going to cost, what's it going to cost you? It's going to cost you money, it's going to cost you time, and it's going to cost you a lot of energy if you trade without a system. Now, does it mean just because you have a system that all these things are going to be turned around? No, it doesn't. So, this is what we need to look at. What is a system? A system's not a bunch of rules. Like in basketball, I'll use that analogy, and you might get sick of hearing it, but it could be the same thing in football. It's not creating a bunch of robots. A system is creating an atmosphere where people can use their strengths, but yet stay within a defined parameters of what you're trying to accomplish. Now, if I'm a trader, what do I want to accomplish? I want to have a profitable trading plan, and I want it to grow every year. Now, is that a goal? It's a goal. It's a destination for me. But if I set a goal and say, hey, I want to earn out of a $20,000 account, I want to earn $20,000, have 100% return on it this year. That's great. Well, how are you going to get there? Well, I'm going to trade every day. That's not what you need to do. What you need to do is put together a system that will help you get to a point where you can begin achieving profitable results that moves you toward that direction. It's not creating a bunch of rules. Again, a system is a predetermined way to achieve the results. A system will adapt to the desired results. Rules don't adapt. I can have a hard and fast rule. Don't trade before 9 o'clock in the morning. Well, what happens if there is such a fantastic setup at 8:58? Do I break the rule? If you're smart, you do. If you have a system that you're trading, it allows you to adapt. A system will ensure consistency. And what it does, it gives you a floor to go in with your trading. And what is that floor? That floor is what you're working on to get that desired result. Now, I don't set goals. You'll hear people say, I'm setting goals here, I'm setting goals there. No, I don't set goals. What I try to do is work my system, and as I become efficient with the systems, what's going to happen? I'm going to reach my desired results. You can call it a goal if you want to, but I'm not focused on that goal. What I'm focused on, and what you should be focused on also, is setting a good system in place. Now, to develop a trading system, this is what you need to do. You've got to realize that no system's perfect. No trader's perfect. You're going to have losing trades. If my system was perfect, there's one flaw in it. It's me, because I guarantee you I'm going to mess it up. Traders have a tendency to do that. That's our nature. We screw things up. We do it all the time. Now, developing a trading system, two of the most important components to a trading system is this. And if you get nothing else out of this webinar, this is going to be something, this is part of the hardest part of your trading. When you're wrong, take the loss. When you're right, let your profits run. Why do we do it different? When you're wrong, you want to hold on to it until it gets back even. And when you're right, you want to put that money in the bank and you get out and cut yourself short and you don't let profits run. And I'll show you the difference in that in just a few minutes. Now, following a system will give you this. It will give you loss and profit management. Now, second, what's a trade? You got to develop something for trade. What is a trade? It's something that you can define. You have to be able to repeat it. And does it have a stop loss? That's your loss management. You've got to, in anything, in any business, I own several businesses also, you've got to have profit management and loss management. You've got to know when to cut people loose and when to keep them. Does it have a target? Is there a profit management system put in place? You've got to have those things. Now, as we go forward, you've got to have a checklist. I'm also a private pilot. Now, pilots follow a checklist for a reason. Why? Would you want to fly with a pilot who doesn't have a checklist or just walks out there, gets on an airplane and goes? You know, that's going to be the time when he forgot to put fuel in it, and he's going to get at the end of the runway, pull up, you're going to be at 1,000 feet, and the engine goes, and you're dead. When you have a checklist in flying, you go through all the procedures that you have to do, and then you make your flight. Do you have a trading checklist? Those are some things that I think is really important. Now, what would you put on the checklist? First of all, you need to develop the feel for the market. You need to know the market. You need to know the times this market trades. You need to know when the markets trade best. You need to know the limits of the market. If it's futures, you need to know all about options. If you're an options trader, you need to know when dividends are reported. You need to know when reports are coming out, when a quarterly report. If you're an equities trader, you need to know when overseas markets could affect it. You need to know all those things. You also need to know the characteristic of a market, because different markets have characteristics that trade different. Like if you get into a ETF fund that is a triple bull fund of gold, it's going to trade different than just an outright gold futures. Also, if you're trading some ETF that doesn't trade much, it's going to be different. Now, next, you need to know what reports affect the market. You also need to know, does it have a sister? What is that? Well, let me show you. This is something that I use quite often. Now, and let me change charts here, and let's hope that everything works. Okay, let me try it. Guys, do y'all see my chart here? Y'all see that chart? Okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay, now I call this setup here is my three sisters. Why? I've got corn, soybeans, and wheat. Now I've got my three amigos over here also. Now what are my three amigos? And I need to get back to my mouse. Let's see if, let me get back here, guys. Okay, yeah, it's still working. Okay, then I've got my three amigos. What are those? The YM, the ES, and the NASDAQ. Why do I do this? Because in my system that I trade, I want to know if there is a market that's moving in one direction or the other that may give me a heads up to the others. I also have in the energy markets, I've got the crude, and I use the RBOB, and I also use heating oil. It's hidden behind here someplace. And I'll look at those to see what type of moves they got. But does it have a sister? Certain stock. Is there a stock in an equity that you may be trading that runs off another one? Let's say if it's something that Apple is a big producer of, and that uses technology from something or buys components from someplace, and Apple has a wonderful year or a new component, does that stock move with Apple? Does that equity move with it? So think about it. Ask the question this, does it have a sister? Now, next. There we go. Now, certain stocks have patterns, and we'll cover that in just a few minutes. Now, we'll look at live trading right now, so you can see and recognize some of the trends, and also the power band indicators. There's power in the bands. In my time, I've got 12 minutes left, I believe. And so this is what we're going to look at. We're going to look at some live charts. If I can get back to them. There we go. Now, off of the live charts that we're looking at, you need to know the patterns that develop along the way. Do you see a pattern repeat itself over and over? And let me see, hopefully it'll work. Hold on, guys. All right, here we go. This is a pattern, and it's kind of like a crooked M. and a crooked W. Those two patterns right there, the M and the W, I see those occur every day. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, let's go back. Let me erase this, and this is what I want you to see. And it's a money maker for you. Okay, I don't know what that was. Let me go to this chart right here. And let's pull up soybeans. You remember I showed you the pattern? Look at this. Here we go. Up, sell off, retest, and then down. That's the crooked M. Would you get a W? Look at the W here on this. This is live. Sell off, and this is a daily chart. Sell off, rally, sell off, and then move. A crooked W. Now, how do you trade them? You will see in my chart, you will see this magenta dotted line. This is my power band indicator. And I'm going to, let me get your attention. And let me go back to and I'm going to run through here real quick to the end. Now, I'm going to do something that it tells us not to, everybody tells me not to do. What you're looking at, what I'm going to throw in here, I've decided today on the power band, and what I've got is 3 months of premium membership to Trade the System, power pack indicators, and access to all the webinars that I do and the videos that I've done that's on the webpage at TradetheSystem.com. Take this down, guys. Support at TradetheSystem.com. $297 I've got in here. For the first 10 people that call and buy, I'm going to cut it down to $197 today. $197, not $2. This is over $500 worth of value that you're getting. I was going to do it at $297. I'm cutting it to $197 for the first 10 that will go to support at TradetheSystem.com. Now, let me fly through here, and I'm going to show you something. This is what I want you to do, extreme trends. I want you to ride the trends. See the power band? Look at the move that we had here, and this was yesterday in the euro. Look at the move that we had, and I'm going to show you in just a minute. That's what we're going to spend the rest of my time is taking a look at it. Here's the YM yesterday. Look at the power band. We go up to the power band, we sell off. What happens? We get the power band, we get my signal, reversal to the long side. Goes to the upside, hits the top of the channel, and what happens? It does a reversal. This is yesterday, guys, on a 144 tick trade, and I'll show you live in just a minute. Here's the power band to the downside. What happens? It reverses. How do you like that? That's what I want you to take a look at. Now, oh yeah, you can pick some of these, cherry pick some of these. I'm not cherry picking charts. Now, this is November soybeans, and I want you to look at this level right here, up around 1041. We trade outside the band. That's what I want to see, and then I'll wait for a reversal of the market. Now, what happens? I'm going to show you, if you went back and looked at my stuff, you would see that the trade of the month was short soybeans. Now, here's the results. On July the 10th, and this was off of a holiday trade that I call it, I ended up going short soybeans at 10.33 3/4. On the 9th of August, this was 9.73 1/4. And on the 10th, I liquidated, that was yesterday, at 9.52 1/4. Now, the reason, this is my trading account that I show live in the trading room. I trade up to 4 contracts in it, and you will see. Now you say, well, prove it. Well, this is what? This is yesterday. Look at it. 8/10 of 17. This is with Transact Futures. This is with, I use Sierra charts, and you'll be looking at those. And I use these. A guy named Patrick Zelbreyer. I use him a lot. Here's my soybean trade. 7/10 of 17. I carried it for a month. This was a position trade. I told the traders that's what it was. One contract in this account. Now I have other accounts. And this is, I show it to traders because most people who are coming in here are trading with about a $10,000 account. And what I do, I try to keep this account right in there, and I take money out of it, but I take it, you know, anywhere $10,000 to $20,000. Off of this account, this is my trade. You can see the field price on the 10th, $10.33 3/4. On the 9th, it was $9.73 1/4. The fill covering my short was $9.52.5 for a profit on that one trade of $4,062.50. That's my position trade. And if you have been in my trading room, you've seen me do it several times like this. Now, so if I've got, let's say if I've got my account that I've let it go up to $20,000, still a $4,000 return in 1 month, would y'all take that? In this case, I think I had pulled it down to about $11,000, and that was my return off of it. Now, I don't trade that many position trades, but when I do, it's seasonal trades that I talk about all the time. Now, you'll see here that I put on a few other trades. I had a soybean. I traded the YM, 8 contracts. Why? Because I went long for and sold for. Yeah, it's only $160. I scalped, what was this one? I scalped the Canadian dollar for $100. And to have the times, I was in there for 11 minutes. On these, 241, I got out at 49.50 in 1 second and 50 in 40 seconds. So I was in there for 9 minutes and made $160 there. And that was all you can see on the 10th of August. Now, back to the charts. What are the power bands? The power bands, I believe, is one of the most potentially profitable. Does it indicator on the power band? Yes, it does, John. It works. This is toss I've got up here. Here's the power bands on toss. And again, I mentioned it was 197 because I'm running out of time. Let me go back and show you some things live right here. I can go through and pull out a trade. Where's my power band? A daily chart, the power band. Let's use the YM today. Do I have a trade? No. Everything in here is, I'm looking at these 2 levels, the magenta bands, the magenta channels, and I'm looking for us to test those levels. Now, when I'm here in the middle of it, this is a daily chart. I've got risk to the upside, risk to the downside. I don't want to trade that. Why? Because then I'm subject to seeing the market. If I went short right here, I've got a lot of room to the upside. It could go to 22,600. Now, let's go with a 30-minute chart. How does it work? Look right here. You get a press. You press down to this line right here, to the lower line. Do you get in just because it touched? No, you don't. You wait for a reversal off of it, and I use one of the most available indicators to help me in this in trading my system. I'll show you how I do it and what I use additionally to go along with it. The MACD, well, it's a lagging indicator. Yes, it is, but it's also been very profitable to me. Now, this is a 30-minute chart. This is Sierra charts. These charts cost me almost zero every month. I think I pay $18 for the live feed, and it's got all types of stuff on it. Let's go to a 5-minute. What do? You see us. We hit up here. The market hits up in this range. We come back in. We do a reversal from 21,860 down to about 830. Is that good enough to trade? That's good enough to trade. We head back up. You remember I showed you the crooked M? Rally, sell off, rally, sell off. That's your crooked M. Now we hit another one. I've got another plan, another part that I do. It's called a breakout fake out. This candle right here, that's your breakout fake out. What happens? It goes and breaks out. Everybody goes, hey, it's going higher. Look at the power bands. We're outside the channel. It's going to gravitate back inside the channel. I don't have to sit here and just take crazy type trades. Power band test on the YM right here at 10:29 this morning, just a few minutes ago. Came down, test the power band, boom, long. It's not that hard, guys. I can teach you how to do it. I can teach you how to get in here and maybe ride the next $4,000 trade that you have on a position trade. Would it make a difference for you? I think it will. All right, how about the bond market? Does it work in the bond markets? Yes, it does. Look here. Rotation right here in the bonds, 154.25. This is a 1-minute chart. We get the rotation. We run up to the upper channel of the power band. Do you get out? No, 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 no. Not, you don't get out. Here's my lagging confirmation. I'm following it up with stops. I teach you how to do that. And what happens? We begin to see the rotations off of it. It goes. And I'm also looking at other time frames to go along with this. And what happens? I take profits and I get out. While this chop, then you avoid that. Off of a 5-minute chart on the bonds. Here, what happens? Sell off, sell off, sell off. This is this morning at 7:20. Like I said, you have to know time frames. You have to know when things come out, reports come out. What happens? You see a sell off outside the power bands, look for a reversal, you get the reversal, and what happens? It goes from 28 up to 8. That's a pretty good move. You get another move down here. If you stayed in and put a stop below these levels, then you would still be long. You're catching a ride from 154.25 up to 55.14 or 15. Now, does it work with anything else? How about currencies? Let's take a look at the Canadian. And again, this is live. I trade a very short-term chart on the currencies. What happens? 7:30 this morning, a report came out. We get the rally up. What happens? Wait, wait, wait. You get across and you off the MACD, off the power bands, you go short. There you are. Do you have a trade now? No. You just sitting here watching. Can you take anything else? Yes, I can. Let's jump over. Does it work with any other markets? Let's go, because I've got this one in here. Let's go Google. Google L. Rally, rally, rally. What happens? Is it time to go? No. Look at the MACD and look at the momentum off of it. It keeps riding. So disregard that trade. How about on the downside here? Trades down to the 100-period EMA. I'll teach you guys about that one. Let's use Netflix, 176. Netflix, rally, 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 up here, up outside the power band, wait for a reversal. You got it, short it. Give me another stock and I'll throw it in here, guys. I'll show you whatever. You can use it, the power bands in anything, and it will, I think it will change your trading. And like I said, I'm doing it for 197. But you've got to send me an email at support@TradetheSystem.com. Apple, how about Apple on a daily chart? Look, test up here. Is it a short? Not yet, but it's getting close. What happens? We are up at the top of the channel. It reduces my risk if I was going to short Apple or buy put options or sell verticals off of it, vertical calls. What happens? You see a reversal off of it. How about where is it? Take any chart. Here we got, what happens? Trades down to the power band, what happens? Is it a buy signal? Right here, the buy signal comes in, what happens? The market moves from 65, 69. See a sell-off right here to the power band. Is it time to go? No, 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 no. You hold on, wait for volume. I also use what I call a precision volume trading indicator along with it. And is it time to go? No, not yet. It's testing my green line right here, 250 period moving average. So I'm heads up right here for a long play. What happens? I get my signal. I'm prepared in it. We get the W. Sell off, rally, sell off, that's my go sign. Take this candle, you go long, and then you can hold it. You put your stops in below these levels over here, it didn't test it, and what happens? We get a move 62 to 67. And I can take this on anything. Torch mark, here we go. Rally up to the power band, what's happened? Here's my short, I'm ready to go short, and pretty good move right here. Do you go long? No, it's the breakout, fake out. It does it. You get the cross, you get a momentum shift, you get a volume surge, and you short it. And now the next thing to do, write it back down to 75. Guys, I can do it with anything. So guys, again, let me go back over, and I'm pretty much sure I'm out of time. Let me show one more time what we're looking at and what I'd like for you to do. All of this, 297, no, 197, but you need to send me an email at support@tradethesystem.com. If you've got multiple trading platforms, I'll send you the indicator for those. I've got it for Thinkorswim, TradeStation, and Sierra Charts, and also anything, pretty much anything else. So 197, guys, support@tradethesystem.com for 197. And it's only going to be today. I'm not going to offer it any other time. If you don't do it today, it's off the table. It'll go back to, I'll sell it to you for $297, but not the $197 for the webinar. Guys, that's it for me. I hope you didn't have any questions. If you've got questions, send them to me at support@tradethesystem.com.